Welcome back to STL Live. I'm Sarah Thompson, and joining me is author Larry Earl Toombs. And we've been talking about your self-published autobiography that you completed actually in 2014, but this year you have a DVD, a film that accompanies it. Is that correct?
I have a 52-minute film. I hired a film specialist. He charged me $100 an hour. A very good film. I had to emphasize that. It's really professional. The life story of author Larry Earl Toombs. It accommodates the life story of autobiography, actually says. Right. And it is on DVD.
So is it really just a lot of the things that you cover in the book? Is it more of the images that go along with it? Or is it something, is there a different story that's told?
Basically, half and a half. There's more on the life story DVD that's not involved in the life story autobiography that I wrote. Yeah.
So let's talk about you. I mean, we're talking about you've done 4 books. This is your 5th book. This is your story. So I assume your life at this point, no pun intended, but is an open book.
It's an open book.
So so you grew up here in St. Louis. How do drugs, which is clearly a big turning point in your life, how did that come about for you?
Well, I grew up in Mississippi.
Okay.
I moved to St. Louis in 2000. I had 11 siblings. Basically, it wasn't just drugs, it was drugs and alcohol too. I was working a job in Mississippi. Basically, the alcohol and drugs were getting in the way of the job. So at the job, they suggested that I go to drug rehab.
Okay.
So I went to drug rehab for 7 weeks and really learned my lesson.
And from 7 weeks, you were able to stop drinking and stop using?
I was able to stop drinking, but it was a struggle. The drug of choice was marijuana. It was a struggle, and sometimes it still be a struggle.
Absolutely,
it still be a struggle. But I managed to overcome all of this, especially to get to the point where nobody knew me. Now they want to hear me talk. When they see author Larry Toombs, they want to hear me talk. But when they didn't know me in 2006, it was a hard thing. Nobody knew me at all.
What do you think was the weakest point for you when you think back to your addiction or in using? When was the weakest point for you, or what was it?
The weakest point was, well, I was trying to balance it with raising a family. And it was in '98, and I had a lot of stress on me with raising this family. I was a young man while raising this family, and I had a lot of stress on me. I turned to drugs for the stress that was happening. I couldn't overcome it. I thought that beer and alcohol and weed could overcome, but it only made it worse.
Sure.
And it took me to fall just to see how bad things the drugs was. And I had to get rid of it. It had no point in my life.
What do you say to people to prevent them from getting to that point? Because you hear that a lot, where it took people to get to that rock bottom place. The problem is some people don't ever recover from rock bottom. Rock bottom could just be it. So when you talk to people and through your book, what is it that you sort of want to say to them to prevent them from having to get so low to turn around? What is the most convincing factor?
Well, I basically tell them, basically only God can really stop you. Only God. He's the only one who really can. And I would point out to those people that if they don't stop, that the route is destruction. It's destruction. There's no other way. Right at the time, it's not destruction.
Yeah. But
continue on the path of drugs, that is destruction. You may lose your job. You may lose your family. See, that's what I would like to point out to the people about drugs. There's no way you can win. You may win then, but you're going to lose in the end. You're going to lose something.
Yes.
Dealing with drugs.
Yes.
Using them.
No, and you have one in the fact that you are no longer using, you are completely recovered, and the ability to share your story, I think says a lot, and you have, in your sense, have one, despite the challenges still that it presents. Well, we've got the information there for you on the screen. It's the life story of Larry Toombs by Larry Toombs. It's available at Amazon.com. It's both a book that was self-published in 2014, along with a DVD that sort of reflects a lot of the story that's in the book and really talks about Larry's life from Mississippi all the way till now, how drugs and alcohol affected his life, but how he has turned it around, and people can go to Amazon for that information to pick up the book.
Yes, they can. They can reach me on Facebook, Larry Toombs, author Larry Toombs. I have 4 pages.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, stay with us here on STL Live. There's more ahead.